Heidi Hefferlin, welcome to Heart of the City. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Yes, well, it's always a pleasure to be with you. For listeners that maybe don't know you or what you do, Heidi is an amazing architect in town, owns one of the maybe biggest firms in this region, HK Architects, and so we're so excited to dive in with you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks. Well, okay, so let's start. I love your story about coming back to Chattanooga after you'd lived overseas in LA. Tell me a little bit about that, coming back to such a small town after having kind of spread your wings elsewhere.
Well, we were living in Los Angeles, and my sister, Melissa Hefferlin, stayed with us for a while she went to Otis Parsons. Then she went to Russia, moved back to Chattanooga with her then-to-be husband, and they were just awestruck with the potential in Chattanooga and felt like there weren't architects doing innovative modern buildings or that there was opportunity. So they said, you guys should come here and it would be a great way to have an influence on a smaller town. So at the time we had small children, and Los Angeles is a lot of fun and a melting pot and a party city and beautiful, but it's more difficult and expensive to raise children there.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved back to Chattanooga in 96. And I went to work for Dertha Kinley Wilkerson, and Craig had a firm in the Philippines. So for 2 years, he was either in the Philippines or going back and forth. I worked for Dertha Kinley Wilkerson, and then one of my clients I was working with said, why don't you open your own firm instead of being part of another firm? We'll support you. So
wow.
We did in 1999, and they are still clients today, 25 years later.
That's sweet.
Yes.
That's awesome. Man, they saw your potential and knew you were going to kill it then. Okay, so Craig is your partner, and you all have been together how long?
Well, let's see, like 36 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
congrats.
Mm-hmm.
And so was he a big part of starting the firm? Like, do you think you would have started HK without the partnership, both personally and professionally, with Craig?
Yeah, probably so. I had started a firm in Los Angeles before we left. After I worked on the Getty Museum for Richard Meyer, when I had my first child, I thought, well, I need flexibility. So I started Heidi Hefferlin Architects, and I worked in the garage, and then I had a nanny who came and took care of Devin, and I'd work during the day. And I was working on a house for Millicent Bojacki, who was William Randolph Hearst's granddaughter. She bought a house from Sylvester Stallone, and I renovated it for them. It was a Spanish mission house in Brentwood overlooking the coast. And then I did a house in Holmby Hills for a Disney executive. And then I did a couple houses in the Hollywood Hills.
How amazing.
And Craig was, meanwhile, going to the Philippines all the time. Yeah. And we thought, plus my mom said, come here and I'll take care of the kids. She never did.
Oh, but what a tease.
Yes.
As a mom of small children now, I could understand that was probably really
was
frustrating. Yeah.
And frustrating.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so after all that big work in LA and under your own firm, so then you move here, you start HK. One of your first big project, or kind of your first big like revitalization project, was the Southside, right? The Southside of Chattanooga.
Yes.
Okay, so talk me through that. So Southside Chattanooga kind of was like a very urban, nothing industrial. Like how did you even have a vision for someplace like that? Like there was nothing good there back then, right? Like it wasn't enticing by any means for people to live there or have offices or...
No, it was not. I mean, we started out living on Signal Mountain.
Okay.
And our kids coming from LA really wanted to be in the city, and they started skating. So they wanted to move downtown. So we bought a C&E house at Williams and 18th.
Okay.
And meanwhile, our brother-in-law...
C&E is what?
Chattanooga Neighborhood Enterprise.
Okay.
So the only thing happening in that neighborhood were some houses along Williams that C&E had built, hoping to spur revitalization. And they had built on 17th Street there had been some buildings built. And Dover Cole did a master plan with Stroud Watson that said if you build a school, which is Battle Academy, that is like a catalyst for getting people there. So we got Ray enrolled in school there, and we moved to the neighborhood. And then my brother-in-law is a developer and a contractor and a realtor.
Oh, that's
And he
nice.
said, you guys need to be more than just architects. If you need to do more. So he said, why don't you develop your own projects as architects? So we got together with Jack Steiner from Ruby Falls, and he said, yes, he would be an investor. I went and toured a bunch of things he was doing down in North Georgia. And we got another investor, Tim McDonald, and C&E put out a request for proposal for this development on 18th and Cowart. So we built a model, did a proposal. Craig figured out a bunch of things, and Stroud Watson was going to be one of our first buyers. So we won the proposal from C&E, and then we had to get a loan, so we needed to have a buyer. So Stroud backed out, and we said, okay, we'll buy one. So we committed to buying the end unit, which we then ended up living in 13 years.
That's awesome.
So we got that one going, and we sold it out before it was like 75% done. We'd sold all the units.
Wow.
So then there was another RFP for 19th and Cowart. We submitted for that one, same process. We got that approved. We sold 3 units. Then there was another one for 17th and Long, so we did an RFP for that. We won that one. So then we had 1 finished and 2 in the works. And then 2008 happened, that real estate crash.
Yikes.
So we had 7 units unsold, and suddenly nobody even came to see them.
Oh no, because it was happening fast. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
it
like
happened
fast growth, and then it was just
It's
like dead halt.
Everything crashed. So Craig
no.
actually had the idea we should lease them. So at the same time, VW was building the VW plant.
Okay.
It was done. It was just cranking up. And the Europeans like modern architecture. So we rented them to to VW people who had a monthly stipend. We rented them for 7 years and then sold the rest of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of a crazy ride.
That is crazy. And that was over the span of like, how many years?
Oh, gosh. Well, it was like 10 years from beginning to end to selling them all. But we learned a lot. The cool thing about doing 3 in a row, and they were all 7 units, is you learn something from every one. So they kind of morphed. But the thing I really like is we were the first people to do roof decks. Now, everyone has roof decks because going to Europe all the time, everybody has a roof deck. Because if you're in the city, you want a place to get outside.
Yeah.
And if you're, door to door,
Yeah,
or especially
wall to wall.
when the neighborhood was first being rejuvenated, it was kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
So
So
you
to
felt
be elevated was nice.
off the street felt good.
That's awesome. Wow. So did it at all feel risky early on, like taking a bet on Southside, like such a like nothing happening area? Or were you just like, you had the vision from the get-go and there was no stopping you?
I wasn't worried about it a lot because historically, if you look at cities, artists lead the way in gentrification. And there were a lot of artists in the South Side. Cessna de Cosmos, also Melissa and Dowd lived down the street. Cessna first went there, then Melissa and Dowd went there, then Ray and Patricia Alfonso, and then they had the Artist in Residence program. So there was a $10,000 forgivable mortgage. And there was a Teacher in Residence program. So if you were a teacher in that area, you could get a $10,000 down payment too.
Oh, wow.
So there were
The right signs.
a lot of things that made me feel like it would work, and Craig too. Now, when 2008 happened, then we were thinking like,
You were panicking. Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes
because
so
a
much sense.
lot of times developers just go bankrupt. You'd give it back to the bank and then you move on. Well, we didn't want to do that because then they sell it at cut rate and it brings down the values of the neighborhood.
Yeah. And you guys were like, you had stake in the game because
Yeah.
you lived there.
Yeah.
You were like, no, we can't do that. We will not fail.
And then we also started a neighborhood association so that people would collectively lobby for better city services.
Oh,
And
wow.
Craig planted 168 trees. He got a grant from the city of Chattanooga. So, landscape, investment, neighborhood association, artists.
Really started to improve. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. What is like one project I guess let's start in this city currently that you work in, mainly, that you're the most proud of?
In process or completed?
Ooh, either.
Well, the completed one is the wheelhouse. I love that where our office is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything I wanted it to be because it's creative. People share
So
information.
cool.
The employees are happy. It's an old building that you just can't afford to build anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, with concrete and riveted steel, we can't even do that for our clients.
Yeah.
So I love that and to be in it every day.
That's so sweet.
But the ones that are ongoing right now, I'm most excited about the riverfront, the Chattanooga riverfront.
Yeah, it's about time. That's so exciting. And I'm so glad you're involved.
Yeah.
Okay, so from like a Chattanooga, like from a city planning aspect, like if you had full control over the city planning of Chattanooga, what is one major thing you would change about like the layout or like what has been done here that has maybe limited us or held us back?
Well, I think zoning has been a problem, and there's no design review. And I have mixed feelings about design review because it can limit your creativity. But on the other hand, if you comply with zoning, you can build
A free-for-all.
anything
Yeah.
right now. And there's some things, not good things that are being done. But I think that infrastructure could be done a lot better if they would underground power lines and plant trees and pave our roads. I mean, it's kind of like Mexico, right? I mean, all the power lines everywhere, potholes,
It's
our
true.
streets are raggedy, and that doesn't feel good to me. I mean, just kudos to the mayor for paving Dodds Avenue.
Yeah.
When you drive down there, you
That's
feel like,
true.
okay, this is a neighborhood
I can work with this.
that's
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
he's told me, Mayor Kelly told me that Main Street is going to be paved from the river to the
Wow.
ridge. And there was another one, maybe Macaulay.
Wow.
So he said that they weren't, the city historically hasn't been doing enough paving, so they're way behind, and he's doing what he can to catch up. But I think our just public realm is shoddy.
Yeah, I would agree. What's a city anywhere in the world that you just feel like is goals from like a city planning standpoint?
Oh, well, there's a lot of them. But I mean, Paris and London, it was like everywhere you go, there's a park. It's thoughtful. The public transportation works well. And everybody is.
Of course, they're in Europe.
Right, they're in Europe.
Of course.
But in the United States, I mean, Asheville before the flood was nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Heidi, let's talk a little bit about you being a woman in a male-dominated field. How has that been for you? Have there been challenges? Have you ever felt held back or minimized because of your sex?
Yeah, I mean, it is a male-dominated field. And when we first opened our firm, we started out doing a couple of houses for wealthy clients. We did the Brzezinski's house in Thunder Farms, which was the first house. And then we did some other corporate leaders' houses. But we wanted to get commercial work. So, I tried to figure out, how do you do that? How do you get connected? And there was a city RFP, and it was at City Hall, and you had to go there and you'd listen to all the information, and then if you want to submit a proposal, you'd know what to do.
Okay.
So I went there, and all the old boys club was there, all the Franklins and Dirtha Kinley and all of them. And when I was walking out, Charlie King said to me, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "What do you mean? I'm here for the proposal." He said, "You can't compete with the big boys." And I said, "Just watch." Right?
Oh my gosh, that is archaic.
Yes.
Wow.
So there is a bit of that. And then doing the state work for years, I was trying to get work with the state. It took 10 years. Now we have like 40% of our work is with the state of Tennessee. But I kept going up there, and I couldn't figure out when submit proposal after proposal, never even get on the short list. So
Wow.
when the Republicans took control, and this is not a political
No, no.
statement, but they had a meeting of the building commission. So I went to that meeting, I found out about it, and they were talking about process and all that and said, does anybody have any comments? And I said, yeah, I have a lot of comments. I've been trying to get in here for 10 years and nobody responds to anything. And I don't like the process at all. And they
The
said,
room went silent.
oh, well, and then I was leaving. And so then the state comptroller said, well, you need to come meet with us, all of us, bring your credentials. So I did that. But on the way out, another architect who I won't name said, do you know you have to give political contributions? I said, no. So he gave me a little insider information on that, which
Oh,
helped. But then I did go
wow.
meet with all the building officials, and I wrote to the governor, to them, and said,
And you had to bring your credentials. I
yes.
mean, what in the world? I bet they didn't make any of the men bring their credentials.
But I'm not complaining. It worked.
It worked.
But the
You got
moral of
in.
the story is you just can't give up.
No.
I mean, you just do your thing every day, do a good job,
So
show up,
true.
and your work eventually speaks for itself.
Yeah, as it has. Wow. So have you ever had to like soften or diminish yourself, like in a project or in a specific instance you can think of where you're like, man, in this instance, a man would be seen as so strong, but I'm being seen as difficult. Like, does that happen? Maybe not still, I would guess, like you're very well respected now, but like, can you think of like times when that would happen to you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, when I was first starting out, I would go to job sites and they would be very, they would joke with me like, oh, little lady, and this and that, and not want to pay attention to me about you got to have the rebar in the foundation or whatever. So that was difficult to learn how to just say, yeah, you got to do it or you're not getting paid.
Right. Wow.
But at first you're insulted and you don't know how to react.
Yeah. Has it affected like your style or your presence or the way you show up because of it being you've been surrounded by a lot of men? Or do you feel like you've like held your own and like really stepped into that?
Yeah, I think I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of like it now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You're like, watch me roar. That's awesome. Okay. What do you consider your design philosophy?
Well, I like the statement by the Ames, which a designer's role is that of a good host to anticipate the needs of his or her clients. So when I think the role of an architect or a designer is to create spaces that elevate people's lives, whether it's a house or a building. And a building is kind of like a camera. You can focus it on what you want to see, how you're relating to your neighbors or a view or
Yeah.
so, and then being the fabric of the city is really interesting. It's kind of like Monopoly, or you're putting things here and there and how it starts change in another area. And I really like being a pioneer. I mean, right
Yes.
now we have a building in Rossville, which is kind of in a sad state. And we're going to do some things there where we hope we can spur change there too.
Nice. So tethered to that, like what's an idea like a design idea you've really stood by that maybe other people didn't see or disagreed with that came to fruition and now everyone is on board with or like
Roof
excited?
decks.
Okay, that's a good one. Roof decks.
Otherwise,
That's huge.
use of color and I think structural expression, like this loft. I mean, when we first moved back in the 90s, nobody was expressing structure. I mean, there was drop ceilings everywhere, covered with drywall, lots of moldings, and it was very Southern colonial kind of thing. And things have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, partly because of us, but also because the city is growing and changing. And I think a lot of it had to do with VW.
Yeah.
All those Europeans coming here
Influence. Yeah, true.
is a new influence. And then we've had the California and the New York and Chicago people
Yes.
coming here. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for architects and designers right now.
Yeah, so true. What's a building in town that you weren't a part of but you wish you would have been? A building or a development or something that's come to fruition around town where you're like, man.
The Common House.
Ooh.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's such a good one. That's like style-wise, that's like the Spanish, like
The
what?
Spanish Mission,
Yeah, it's
and
so
the way
cool.
they capitalized on the history, and then that glass elevator tower and the pool.
I
Next
know.
level, right?
Shout out pool. That's so great.
And I'm really excited because Landon, he worked on that, and now he's come to our
Oh,
firm.
fun. Okay,
Yeah.
so you get a little piece.
Yes,
You get to
yes.
claim a little piece. Okay, so HK has a reputation of being very familial. Like you guys have just like a close team. You guys are all really fun and bonded, and I just feel that when I walk into the office and all the people that I know that have worked with you guys. Did you intentionally kind of build that, or has it kind of evolved organically into kind of this like really strong camaraderie?
Oh, no, that's intentional.
Yeah.
I
Tell
mean,
me about that.
I want to work with people that I like, just like my clients. I want to work with clients I like, and hopefully they like me. I mean, I've realized that good communication and bonds and friendship lead to better creativity, and our projects are better that way.
Yeah.
So
I
we
love
we
that.
try, and we have strategic planning sessions, and Teal Tebow helped with that, and Kate Cronenberg also works on that now. So, and we have get-togethers and charrettes in the office, and
love
people
it.
are just fun. And we let them bring dogs. I mean, I brought my dog to the office, so.
Such a big cultural like
Yes.
boost. That's so sweet.
And last week we had baby goats in the office.
Just for
And
therapy?
they jump
How sweet.
they jump up and down, like straight up and down like pogo sticks.
How did the dogs handle that? Were the
The
dogs
dogs
around?
had to be
yeah, contained.
corralled.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so like, did the lines ever get blurred? Like, I know as myself as a business owner, and someone who's close with their clients and close with their team. How do you handle kind of the fine line though? Like, is there a balance? Like, how do you maintain still a certain amount of professionalism, but still wanting to be authentic and still wanting to enjoy who you're around? How do you toggle that? How do you juggle that?
Well, we take the approach that if the employees understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and what the benefits are to them, that everybody is going after this common goal, and you don't have to instruct people on how to do their job.
Nice.
So we have software, and it's very transparent, where all the project managers know if their projects are making money or not.
Oh,
And
nice.
they can talk to their team about that. So it's not really a problem.
Non-issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. What's like a hard firing experience you've had to go through? What's like the hardest?
Oh, firing is terrible.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, has there been like an unusual, like obviously you're not going to name drop anyone, but like was there a certain experience that kind of shifted maybe how you do things or you learned from or?
Well, we did have an employee who was very talented, a woman, but who had a drug problem.
Oof.
And at first we just thought it was illness,
Oh.
which can be hard to tell.
Yeah.
And in the end, we offered to help her go to rehab or get help, and she
Wow.
denied it, and so we had to let her go. And
Yeah.
that was hard
That's
to do.
tough. Do you yourself take that on, or do you pull others in with you to kind of have support, or is it like a one-on-one thing when you're having to let someone go?
We did that with a couple of people.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do it one-on-one.
Okay.
And fortunately now there are other partners too, so
Delegation is beautiful.
people can deal with their own teams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a project you've ever regretted saying yes to?
Yes.
Oh, what did you learn from that?
To be very careful about who you sign up with as clients.
Was it more the person or the project?
It was the people and the project.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yikes. Has it happened more than a handful of times?
I would say 3 times in 25 years.
I mean, we'll consider that amazing. Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, and finally, Heidi, I want you to fill in the blank.
Okay.
The heart of HK is
The people.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, and thanks for all you do for our city and beyond.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thanks
Absolutely.
to our HK family for all they do.